Hello and welcome back to the What podcast. Today I am on my own, wanting to check in with the community and the listeners to just say that I'm so proud of the conversations that we're having and the members in our community that have stepped forward with enthusiasm to come and share their stories. And I'm having just the time of my life, having these conversations and getting to know our clients and the coaches that are graduating from Canada Coach Academy in such a great way. I'm also incredibly impressed by the willingness to share the experiences that our coaches and our graduates are having in our community. I'm also feeling very blessed and privileged to say that I can be among these people every day, and that my team of facilitators, mentors, and customer support people are all so committed to giving the best service that they can give and putting the client first, and really passionate about the work and about the hospitality that we put forward every day. We really make the customer first in a way that is very coach-like, in a way that is designed by what we do, which is a coach mindset, and that mindset of the client is the expert in their own life, and therefore the client knows what the client needs. And so we are open to feedback, and we are humble in the client's presence. And so this episode today is about humility, in fact. I thought, what great opportunity to dig into the role of humility in coaching as a coach, but also as a learner, and more specifically as an adult learner. Many of our clients, our students, our graduates are people who are deeply into their professions. They are years in, decades in, in the banking industry, in the HR profession, in financial sector, in oil and gas, in insurance and sales, and they're entrepreneurs, physicians, so many physicians, mental health practitioners, all kinds of people come to our programs, each with their own unique journey and a willingness to go back to a learning mindset. And that takes humility, especially when we've achieved accolades in our careers, we've become parents, we've gone through difficult times and challenges and made it out the other side. We have experienced successes. We have lived. And then we come and we become a learner. And we're back to school for most of us for the first time in decades. And I know what that's like. I'm doing a master's now, and I get it. And I actually enjoy the experience of going back to school at this age, with the experience of life behind me to support my learning, so much more than I did when I was in high school or in my undergrad at McGill. And so I want to take this episode to talk about how humility is a skill, but also an asset when we are learners and when we are coaches and sitting with others in the privileged seat of being a coach. Humility as a learner means coming in with an open mind. It means being willing to step into the discomfort of not knowing. It also means being willing to grapple with, struggle with, be at war with, unlearning ways of being, of communicating, and of leading oftentimes, or just communicating as a professional that you have learned since you were little in school, and all the way up through your career, climbing the corporate ladder if that was your choice, or just leadership development programs. Typically, we are learning skills in those programs that may contradict what we're doing in coaching. And so the people who come to a coach certification like ours and learn the grounded evidence-based practices that we know create safe spaces and opportunities for others to get smarter and better in their own lives by using their internal resources and having that opportunity to sit in dialogue with a coach in a way that helps them to think of things differently, adopt new perspectives, challenge themselves, also be mirrored by the coach, which is a huge opportunity. As humans, we are not designed to be objective about ourselves. We are very subjective. We live in story world. We tell stories about everything because we make meaning about everything that we encounter, that we do, that we experience. We are meaning-making machines as humans. And so it's hard for us to be objective about ourselves. The coach brings in that reflective observation that is mirroring, that is echoing, that is not opinion, it is not advice, it is not consulting, it is not a diagnosis, an evaluation, an assessment. It is none of those things. It is simple reflection and an opportunity for the energy between the coach and the coachee to create a space that invites time to think, that invites lingering, that invites questioning and observation, that evokes awareness. And the active listening skills that we apply are much different than your corporate active listening strategies, in that we use a clean language approach, and that we echo instead of paraphrasing, and that we do all kinds of things that are there to grow the connection between coach and client, but in a way that we are not accustomed to. It's not about relating, and it's not about sharing stories, and it's not about what I know and what I want to profess and my ego and my answers to your issues. It's about the coachee being able to truly sit in their own thoughts and experiences without judgment. And that is powerful. And so much of what we teach is self-management as the coach. To step into self-management, we have to be humble. Humility is at the forefront of powerful coaching, because in humility, I am willing to hold my tongue. In humility, I am willing to lean into your experience and not bring my beliefs, my attitudes, and my values into the conversation. In humility, I am willing to listen instead of waiting to speak. I am willing to observe and energetically to be so connected to you and your experience that I put my experiences aside. It takes humility to step into the coach mindset, to believe that you are doing the best you can in the moment you're in as the client. The coach has to be humble to believe that the past does not equal the future. And we have to be humble enough to accept that we do not know what is actually going on, and that we will ask to evoke the awareness for the client to know what's actually going on. It also takes humility to ask questions not for my understanding, but for the understanding of the coachee. to understand themselves better. There's a great quote in coaching that it says, the client meets themselves for the first time through the coach, because the coach is the vessel, is the mirror of reflection, observation, inquiry, silence, connection, all the things that help people become smarter and more clear about their thoughts. And so this is an opportunity to step into humility when you become a coach, and also when you are coaching others. I'd encourage you to reflect on the role of humility in your practice and to think about what you need as a coach to be more humble, and what you need as a coach in training to have self-compassion in the times that are uncomfortable, in the struggle with the material and the ways of thinking and the change, because it requires self-compassion. We're not always going to get it right, but we are here to discover and encourage and challenge and support each other in this process of change. So I hope that you will take time to reflect, maybe even talk to some fellow coaches about humility, make it a topic of conversation, and talk about the power and impact that humility has in a coaching conversation, to help others feel seen and heard and like they matter, maybe for the very first time in a conversation. Thank you, everybody, for the support that you're giving this podcast, and for your encouragement along the way, and for all the incredible volunteers who want to be a part of the podcast. I feel so grateful to have so many incredible minds and people with all kinds of experience in life coming and talking to you about their passion to become a coach, their journey in becoming a coach, and their successes as a coach. So continue to listen. Be sure to subscribe. It's how we know that we have an audience that is tuning in and really caring about the content. And tell your friends about it. Anybody who wants to become a coach. There's lots of people to learn from on this podcast. And the last one of all is me. So I look forward to the remaining conversations. We are posting every week, every Tuesday. And please leave your comments and feel free to drop us some topics that you'd like to hear on the podcast. We would love to hear from you and hear what's on your mind and what you would like to know more about. Thanks, everybody.